Hello, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today's guest is Lady Merdean Gales. She's president of the Martin Luther King Holiday Committee, and we'll be discussing that holiday today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. Lady Merdean, how are you?
Well, Bernie, I tell you, all is well in spite of.
In spite of.
And when we say in spite of, I'm going to leave it exactly that way.
Okay.
Well, in spite of. And you can add whatever you want to into it. But I will say this, our Creator has been good to all of us.
That's certainly right.
Thank you again for having me join you. I am so excited.
Merdean, the Martin Luther King holiday comes around quite frequently, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like just last month we were celebrating the Martin Luther King birthday holiday, rather, and here we are doing it again.
Interesting that you would say holiday, because that is the word you have to add.
Certainly.
Holiday, because every day is a Dr. Martin Luther King Day.
That's correct.
So I'm with you on saying holiday, the national federal holiday, established back in 1980 something.
How did that come about? How did that come about?
Well, you know what? Every time you ask me that, or whenever I think of that, I think of you.
Well, thank you.
Because we started from the beginning. You know, there has to be baby steps before there are toddler steps and what have you.
Yeah.
But Bernie, we are so grateful to you because the city of St. Louis was one of the first cities to proclaim Dr. Martin Luther King Day as a holiday in the city of St. Louis. And who started with those proclamations? And when I say proclamations, I mean started with getting the names and everything of people to say to the mayor at that time that we need to establish the holiday. Bernie Hayes himself.
Well, you're
and
very
you know
kind.
what? And we still had a Bernie Hayes show back in that day. So you've been around a long time, Bernie.
Yeah, but we were together. We were together on Channel 2 at one time too. So
yes, we were.
You're a broadcaster. You're an announcer. You've done national television with the Bobby Jones show. You've done it all.
All right, still with Dr. Bobby Jones.
Yes.
And still with you when it comes to radio, and especially black radio. I am part of the
National Black Radio Hall of Fame.
Hey, because of you, Bernie. You're the one who did it all. Okay.
Hello, Merdean.
Thank you.
You know, Minister Gales, how's Minister Gales doing?
Minister Gales is doing very well. And, of course, they're happy to be back in their temporary sanctuary, the New Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church. There's so much going on, you know, and so much going on when we think about the pandemic. I heard someone say the plandemic, whatever you call it. It has been a demic that has affected all of us. So we welcome persons who've been inside for the past 2 years to get out and follow all of the the plans and the preparation and those things they recommend for us to prepare ourselves, starting, of course, you know, with the vaccination.
Sure.
And all of the other things that you must do, the wearing of the face mask. And we're doing that here today. It seems like last year we might have had on a face mask. I can't remember, but I'm sure we did. And when we finish this, we will have one on. Yeah. Because when it comes to technology, I'm in one place and you're in the other place, but we're all together. Yeah. That's the reason when you see on the screen, you'll see what we're saying, unity in the community. That's what it's going to take. That is what it's going to take. All of us coming together in spite of our differences, our racial persuasions, religious denominations, socioeconomic positions. It will take every one of us because we all have problems, but we're not looking at the problem. We're waiting on the promise, and it will come.
That's great.
Thank you so much for having us here for this annual celebration here in St. Louis, and the state also. The commissioners are excited also. So,
how important is it to you?
Well, it's my life, really.
Yeah.
It truly is. When I say that, I had the opportunity of knowing the Dr. Martin Luther King family, and of course meeting him, and then actually attending the funeral and any number of things that we did here in St. Louis. So it is my ultimate goal to continue to fight those three evils that he gave his life for: poverty, racism, and violence. And that's the reason the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Committee has chose the theme, unity in the community. So it is my ultimate goal to do whatever I can, and it should be the goal of all those persons that are watching today, to tell someone else about the life of Dr. Martin Luther King that changed this world. You know, somebody said people turn things upside down, but Dr. Martin Luther King turned it inside out. And I don't know of anything that we're involved in that we can't. It's just like he's here now.
Yeah.
If you listen to the speeches,
Right.
they sound as present and they are as important as they were in that day. He's still with us. So, Bernie Hayes, what can we do? We put on our Dr. B. like Dr. King shoes. March. Continue to express and show love to each other. That is the only way that you can remove hate is with love. And so the only way we can do is bring everybody together. Preachers, deacons, teachers, doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, elected officials, appointed officials, those who want to be an official, and certainly the persons that are the head of households, parents, mamas and daddies, everybody, children telling children. You'd be surprised at the number of young people now compared to several years ago who know the name of Dr. Martin Luther King. I hear some of them now saying it now. They say, Dr. M.L. King Jr., the Reverend Doctor. Several years ago, I was so concerned because you thought they were saying Martha Luther King.
Yeah.
But now, because of all of those organizations, including the Dr. Martin Luther King commissions, the holiday committees, the clergy coalitions, educators, legislators, and this year is going to be phenomenal. We got so much going on, I tell you. When we talk about the motorcade, the march, all of that's going to be a part of it. The Dr. Martin Luther King Holiday Committee is made up of so many individuals from this area and other areas who unite with us.
Yes.
Our vice chairperson, Brother Nigel Word, who is an educator, never stops telling people about it. Our secretary, Patricia Barber, our program coordinator, Mr. Gary Boyd, the king of hospitality. We have our grand marshals, Anthony Bell, a committeeman, and the Reverend Darrell Gray, who is now the pastor of Fairfax Missionary Baptist Church, Minister Hankerson, the Bishop Hankerson, all of them affiliated with us, radio personalities, Charles Spearman, who is with WESL Radio and 24 Karat Gold. We got it going on here in St. Louis.
Right.
Bill Anthony, who is a preacher, is our button coordinator. You see me with all these buttons?
Yes.
You can have one. And I want to make sure that you're going to get one. All you got to do is you're going to call later on the numbers on the screen so that you can have a Dr. Martin Luther King button. The number is 458-6906. And then, of course, that's area code 314. You have to dial that now, you know that. 314-583-0532. We'll have some billboards up shortly giving you the other information. And the persons that are responsible for our media contact is our program coordinator, Mr. Gary Boyd, the king of hospitality. And, of course, we have Johnny Little, who's involved with it, and Deborah, who's actually not a person who lives here in St. Louis, but believe me, she is involved as anybody else when it comes to bringing this together. And all the fraternal organizations, you've got so many. You have just, when I can't even start to name the committee groups and what have you. The Metropolitan Urban League with the Honorable Dr. Michael Macmillan, who is with us, and he's been our herald to get us started. And of course, we're so excited about the Honorable Mayor of the City of St. Louis, Tashara Jones, who grew up in this.
Yes.
All of this, and they're still doing it. We have some people that we're going to be honoring that day, and I know you know when we talk about walking down memory lane, how can you forget? How can you forget? We will honor them posthumously. How can you forget the Dr. Henry Gibbons of Harris Stowe State University? made it a university to be remembered and go down in history. The Honorable Betty L. Thompson. Yeah. What about Lady Irby? All of them that we're going to, and then of course, Evangelist Rachel Hankerson, we're going to honor them. And then when I say those that were with us, I mean the ambassadors who were involved to the hilt. They led the march. All of that was going on. But then there are some people that are still going to be involved. The mayors of these townships here in St. Louis, we got so many of them that you just won't listen. They're going to be out and involved in it.
And each one of them have their own celebrations too. We'll take a short break. Right. But I want to come back and get some of the details on this year's celebration and also who designed these buttons. But in the meantime, we're in the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And we'll be back with Lady Merdean Gales after this.
We already see so many homeless people. But God only knows how many more are going to end up on the streets once the moratorium on evictions lift. So many hurting and homeless people and no place for them to go during the day, particularly in the downtown St. Louis area and even out in the county. So many hurting and homeless people left out in the streets and in the parks. Now, if we could just begin to work together to reopen 1411 Locust, things could change. We could do so many things at 1411 Locust that we're doing in Springfield at the day center we have there. So many people could be getting help at this time. As you know, New Life Evangelistic Center was closed by the Slay administration and the Cruson administration back in April of 2017. We've waited 4 years. Thank God we finally got a new administration that seems very sensitive to the needs of the homeless. Now your help is needed as an advocate, as a prayer warrior, that we can get back into the 1411 Locust building. We can do this if you'll go to God in prayer. Right now, we're commissioning our architects to come up with new architectural plans. We had spent over $80,000, but each time it was being stopped by the Cruson and the Slay administration. Now, with a new administration at hand, we believe that we'll be able to take steps forward to reopen this building. So homeless people, they're now in the parks where they can't shower, they can't store their belongings, they can't use internet service to find jobs, they can't get the meals. And they just need clean clothes and so many direct services to store their belongings alike that we could help them with here at 1411 Locust. Please go to God in earnest prayer and encourage your family and friends and everyone you know to contact our present mayor's office. I believe she cares a lot about the homeless, but she needs to know you're standing beside her and you're with her at this particular time. So please continue to pray. Please be an advocate on behalf of the homeless. I thank God for what Bernie Hayes is doing through his program. So many wonderful guests that he has. Now, will you please support our efforts as we work together to reopen 1411 Locust?
And welcome back. My guest is Lady Merdean Gales. She's president of the Martin Luther King Holiday Committee, but she's so much more than that. We talked about she mentioned the pandemic a little bit earlier in the program. And Lady Merdean Gales, you've been very, very close to the medical professional for many, many years. I remember you in your white coat.
You remember all that?
All that.
Yeah.
I remember that, and you were very effective.
Yes.
So you know about this immunology, and you know about pandemics and so forth. Tell us how dangerous this is and why we should be vaccinated.
Well, you know what, Bernie? It's good that you asked that about this particular one. Mm-hmm. But I also want to have you know that all of them that we are involved with now, influenza, everything, the mumps, whooping cough, all of them were pandemics. Yeah. We're just here living through this one. My father, who was 105 last year when he passed this month, actually was involved in the first one that we are aware of.
Sure.
And that was 100 and something years ago. And he lost his parents to that. But all of them, what do you think about infantile paralysis? All of those things, tuberculosis. So you just had to add them to the list. They're not going away. And when I say going away, I served as the chief of radiology for the St. Louis Labor Health Institute in St. Louis, which is a private organization, a healthcare institute for the Teamsters. But mind you, I'm saying they're not going away. They're just added to the list. And you have to learn what to do to live through it. Other than that, you will succumb to it. You will transition in it when it's not necessary for that to happen. Mind you, you know what you do for a common cold. We hear people say plenty of vitamin C, vitamin D, sunshine. Well, just like you know that, and then rest for 3 days, some soup. They know the same thing about this pandemic when we're speaking of it, COVID-19, because it's saying that you've got to know the symptoms. After knowing the symptoms, go get yourself checked. But when they provide the vaccine for it, go and get the vaccine. Mind you, if it doesn't curtail it, it will certainly help you live through it. And then you do the other things they tell you. They're not going to tell you not to stop eating right. They're not going to tell you not to get vitamin D and vitamin C. No one's going to say you don't stop walking and getting some exercise and enough sleep. So it's important as any other illness. Now, when you are afraid of it, you need to receive education about it, because you're scared. All of us fear itself, because we don't know enough about fear. So my point is, if you fear any of it, there's so many things you can just speak it into your cell phone and find out why people are fearful. Now, mind you, it is true that people get symptoms that they perhaps didn't have before after receiving maybe a vaccine. But it tells you what to do in case that happens to you. The same thing happens when they tell you to drink plenty of orange juice. If you drink too much of it, some people can't handle acid. You might be a diabetic that was too much sugar. So what's going to happen? Your sugar is going up. So there are going to be side effects and byproducts and effects of everything. So my point is, educate yourself so that you'll be able to take care of yourself. And when you can take care of yourself, you will be able to take care of others. That's the reason I'm saying to you to be the first doctor. Interview this body. All of us got something going on in it that you haven't told somebody. Regardless of what it is, interview the body. And after you interview the body and you read some of those things that they say might be some things that you should take a look at, go to your doctor. Go to the doctor. Don't just fill up the emergency room, because the emergency room is exactly what it's saying. They're going to triage those people who are at, a troubled door that perhaps there won't be a segue for them to move back gainfully into the community. So what you need to do is go before then to prevent all of these things from happening. And you will be able to do that. Start with your diet, and remember, whatever's going on in your body now, it's not going to go away because you don't get the vaccination. It's going to just do what it's doing, manifest itself, maybe even develop to a more serious problem. So I'm saying to you to make yourself a committee of one to take care of self. Go into the mirror and look and say, self, I love you. Self, I know this, that we might fall because we don't know some things. But if we fall, listen to this. If we fall, our Creator will catch us. But then you know what? When I Merdeanize it, I will say, it's more than that. If we fall or falter in some of our tryings, if we fall, the Lord may not catch you. But if it doesn't catch you, I believe He'll sure teach you how to fly.
That's wonderful. Merdean, tell us a little bit about the organization's plans for the ceremonies for the Martin Luther King Day, January 17th this year.
Thank you, Bernie, for that question. We're waiting to get to that for sure. Mm-hmm. But here's what I want to say to you, that we have a program coordinator extraordinaire, and he's the king of hospitality, them your people.
Yeah, he won't give me my crown and cape back.
Mr. Gary Boyd, something else, a character. But let me say this to you. We are still incomplete in some areas, but we do know the national holiday is January the 17th, right. 2022. That's the reason you need to get these buttons, so that date is on there. It's always the third Monday in January. Some people said national holiday, federal holiday, that's what it is. And we will begin the celebration, the old courthouse at 4th and Market. Now, you know that was the site of the Dred Scott decision. Right. And that's our reason for meeting there at 4th and Market. We can't go in now, but we're going to assemble there. We're going to assemble there with all of the elected officials, all of the dignitaries and persons that are truly involved in King Day from across the country. Some are coming from, I have a friend who's in charge of a career academy and an acting academy in Dallas, Texas. He says, my goodness, he's heard so much about us that he's going to make sure that he flies here folk from all over, including Dr. Tanya Collins, who is the chairperson of our Dr. Martin Luther King State Commission.
Yeah.
All of the commissioners are always involved, going and throwing. I just don't want to start calling up and this Miss Menzie, and then the Boot Hill, Sherry Maxwell's in it, and we're going to be honoring people within our community on that day, and that's what she's going to be doing as a day of service. So my point is, Dr. Earl E. Nance is a member of that commission. So is Reverend Dr. Sammy Jones. They're members of that commission. But guess what? They're ambassadors for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Committee. So they always come out on that day. So in spite of whatever else you've heard, we will be happening, and then we will march to the interfaith service.
Right.
Mr. Gary Boyd will have all that out for you. Keep up with it, and you know our daily news Bible, of course, we know the St. Louis American will carry everything else that you need for that.
Right. We got to take a short break here, but then we'll come back and talk about more about that. And also, I want to ask you about that wonderful, beautiful medallion you have hanging on your neck.
Oh, I know you want one.
We'll be right back with Lady Merdean Gales after this.
New Life Evangelistic Center is celebrating 50 years of God's faithfulness. For many of those years, Bernie Hayes has been a direct part of the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. I thank God for Bernie, his faithfulness, and how he is such a legend when it comes to broadcasting throughout the greater St. Louis area. Will you join Bernie and myself as we celebrate the 50 years of God's faithfulness? I want to involve you in the planning committee, for we got a lot of great things in store in 2022. Why don't you call us at 314-421-3020 and be a part of that committee, or go to www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. Will you celebrate the 50 years of God's faithfulness along with Bernie Hayes and myself and so many others throughout Mid-America? I know that the Lord has ministered to many of you through the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. We'd like to have you share your memories with us. So will you call us at 314-421-3020 or contact us at come by 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Yes, we're celebrating God is faithful.
Today's subject, Martin Luther King Jr. He was a social activist and Baptist minister who played a key role in the American Civil Rights Movement from the mid-1950s until his assassination in 1968. King sought equality and human rights for African Americans, the economically disadvantaged, and all victims of injustice through peaceful protest. He was a driving force behind the watershed events such as the Montgomery bus boycott and the 1963 March on Washington, which helped bring about landmark legislation as the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 and is remembered each year on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a U.S. federal holiday since 1986. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights pioneer.
The Bernie Hayes program is produced at NLEC TV right here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. It's our new headquarters since they closed the 1411 Locust building. We're working to get back into that building. In addition to that, trying to help so many people through a wide variety of safe houses, training programs, transportation assistance, so many ways people are getting help because of all of you that are supporting the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. Now, if you'll send a gift of $25 or more, we want to send you this special, the Bernie Hayes Show cup. And we're giving that to people. It's just a way of saying thank you. So when you send your gift, request a cup. We'll be happy to get it off to you. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org. Now I'm really asking all of you to join us in praying. The needs are so phenomenal at this particular time. So many hurting and homeless people are contacting us daily, but we're able to help them because of each one of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this time. Tell your families and friends about NLEC TV and get directly involved yourself.
And welcome back. My name is Bernie Hayes, and with me is Lady Merdean Gales, the president of the Martin Luther King Holiday Committee. Merdean, you have a beautiful medallion hanging around your neck. I see the buttons, the Martin Luther King buttons. I'm going to ask you about those, which I have mine on. But what is that wonderful medallion hanging around your neck?
This beautiful medallion is a medallion that all of the Missouri Dr. Martin Luther King state commissions have. Actually, this button started under the leadership of Dr. Henry Givens, and all of us have this. Believe me, this is I'm trying to get it right so you can
That's okay.
see. You see it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Good. You've been watching it. All right, everybody asks me, no, you cannot buy it. This is earned by the state commissioners, and we wear them proudly as a member of the Missouri Dr. Martin Luther King State Commission. Okay. Dr. Henry Givens is the chairperson emeritus, and Dr. LaTanya Collins, who is the interim president of Aristotle State University. So we wear this button proudly. It is a conversation piece.
Okay. Now it's going to be January 17th, beginning at the old courthouse.
4th and Market.
Outside.
Now, that's where we'll have the dignitaries and all speak.
At what time?
And that starts at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you this so you know. I know you want to ask me, but I'm going to tell you. All right? I know you're going to ask me what we're going to do. It's going to be a march and a motorcade.
Okay.
So if you don't want to walk, and we're going to ask everyone to wear a mask, you definitely have to have that on. And then the motorcade will follow that. And of course, the persons behind it will no doubt have several floats, but that's what's going to be happening. And then we will march to the interfaith service. When I say the interfaith service will be announced, but we are so grateful and excited about this day. So thanks to so many who gave so much to this. I know the Reverend Dr. Stephen Thompson of the Leonard Baptist Church, which was right off Dr. King, for the last several years has opened up space for us. All of them are going to be involved in the march and in the motorcade. Thank you for last year.
Are there phone numbers that we can get?
Yes, we do have phone numbers.
Okay.
The phone number is 314-458-6906, and then 314-583-0532. Those are the numbers to call for further information on the celebration January the 17th, 2022. The one thing to remember is that it is always the third Monday in January. So you don't have to call and ask, when is the holiday? That is the holiday.
Okay. And we have about a minute left, Merdean. Tell us about the day being a day of service, the holiday being a day of service.
All right.
Have about a minute.
You know what we're saying? It's not a day off, it's a day on. And Dr. King worked every day, and every day is a Dr. King day. So what we're saying to you is that you can serve on that day. There are organizations that are doing so much. We know that the Urban League is still doing a day of service, and the state commission's involved with that, the Martin Luther King Junior Holiday Committee. But there's so many churches that are definitely involved in caring and sharing as they have been doing throughout this pandemic.
As you have been also.
Right, and they didn't just start.
Yeah.
Look at all the fraternal organizations, all the lawyers that are always doing. I know
it's all encompassing. We're about out of time.
Mr. Richard Banks always involved.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lady Merdean Gales. Keep on doing what you're doing year after year after year after year. We appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for once again coming by and telling us about the Martin Luther King holiday celebration that's coming up on January 17th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Smooches.
And
Help
everybody
somebody.
Have a great day, and thank you for watching and supporting the New Life Evangelistic Center. I'm Bernie Hayes. Please, as Merdean says, get vaccinated. Stay safe.